All right, I'm here with Grubby on day 2 of MLG Dallas, and you only played the one game so far against Flash. You don't know who you're playing next, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be the loser between SCC and one of the people who came through the open bracket. And I thought Liquipedia shows who's going to be seated where. Mm-hmm. Like bracket 5 goes to open 5.
Right.
But I don't know if the numbers are tied. Doubt was sown.
Have you been keeping up with any of the major results? Like right now, Moonglade just 2-0'd Huck.
Ooh.
And did 2-1 against MC.
I saw that. Didn't see the games, but yesterday I was discussing with Baby Knight. I was like, there's no way that Moonglade's going to beat MC. Like, it's impossible. Yeah,
because it seemed like he disappeared for a while, right? Or
I think that's the Australia effect, to be honest. He was at IEM Cologne at CBIT. That's not that long ago, like 2 months.
Okay.
So I beat him 2-1. He ended up like maybe 4th or 5th in the group.
Right.
But he played good games, like decent. And I mean, we all know that he's a player who can like upset anyone, right?
Sure.
So to say he disappeared is probably just because he's all the way in Australia.
Yeah, I just don't keep up with the Australian scene. He won Broodlord and Fester in those games, and
good choice.
Yeah, good choice. I've been talking to everybody this weekend about what they think of like Zerg and specifically Broodlord and Fester. And do you think there's anything wrong with it?
I'm a guy in Warcraft 3, StarCraft 2. I always believe that the best thing in a game is when there's a lot of options. So it's both like their biggest strength and their biggest weakness. Like they have to get it, but it's so strong when they get it.
Right.
And that's like purely like not speaking about balance. It's not as good as when there's like multiple options.
Sure.
And this is what Blizzard has been saying all the time. They haven't been focusing so much on. Like they aren't giving us what we want by saying, yes, we know it's way too strong. They say, well, our stats show a relatively equal spread of wins of the players.
Right.
And then like people like me who are like so into it will be like, yeah, but a lot of the Protoss wins comes from all-ins, the Sol 1-1-1s.
Right.
A lot of the Zerg wins come from the late game Broodlord and Fester. If Protoss wins, it's because of, we reason it out, but they look at their stats and they say it's pretty equal. But one thing that they have been saying is that they want to create more variety.
Right.
And that's not one of the much quoted complaints or advices that the community is giving Blizzard. Like we're not really focused that much around the variety of play, except when we discuss the metagame going stale or whatever. But like Blizzard has actively been saying that they're trying to design the game around having more options for Zerg.
Sure.
Speed Hydras, Vipers, like in Heart of the Swarm and so on. Is it possible to achieve the kind of game that Blizzard and the community wants to see with just Wings of Liberty? I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. I know you had a chance to meet with like David Kim and some of the other developers at, where was that, IM or WCS?
Yeah. It was at IM Cologne at CBIT. Also, like about 2 months ago or so.
Sure, and I know like a lot of the pros have been in contact on like the pro forum and that. And have you found that there's been fruits of that interaction so far?
I think when we first met in CBIT, none of the players were like ready to the point to present a really coherent case about why it's like this, like that. Right. Like most of all, we got a really good understanding of how they are thinking. We had David Kim speak a lot about why some decisions are made. And obviously it's a lot more complicated than some of us may be able to predict. You can't just change one thing because it'll change a lot. Right. But I remember that from all the 7 players, including the Zergs, no one liked how Fungal Growth is currently working. That it pins in place, even the Zergs, because obviously they have ZVZ to contend with, and also I think if they try to be objective, they can say that it's not working properly. But we have to understand that the business model, they have to push out certain changes with Heart of the Swarm, and it's going to be maybe more attractive if they do that with Heart of the Swarm than to try and reach it now and then reset it 3 months later. Right. I read a really good comment from a community member on Team Liquid, and he said, software companies like these, they have potentially infinity things to improve upon.
Right.
They got this list of like 10,000 or 100,000 things. Now I know that's not infinity, but it might as well be in terms of how much time you have to do it. And you could like shortlist like 100 changes, and then you can prioritize 10 of them, and then you could probably do like 5 of them, which are the top priority in a 2-month period.
Right.
So when they have to prioritize and they got like X many months left till Heart of the Storm comes out, it's probably not a good idea to try and completely fix everything now, purely from a man force standpoint. That's just me speculating, though. That's not something they told me, but and the community member obviously.
So would you say that you think they're on the right track with Hard the Swarm as far as the ideology of adding more options?
Well, all the caring that has been done by the community recently with all the posts, I think maybe it had like a 1 to 5% contribution to actually how they change their perspective on things, which is a decent percentage. I mean, they're using a lot of data, casual, pro, viewership, how to play. They have a lot of interests that they have to combine into one package, which steers their priority list. But I think what it has done is that Blizzard has been playing more open card. I think we've all noticed this, like lots of announcements, lots of Reddit threads. I don't know what it was, like some inhibition that was internally, some politics that got cleared out of the way, or some heads rolled, or is it because of the trepidation of the community? But all I can say is that it feels really gratifying, I think, for me and for the rest of the community probably, to see so much more information coming from Blizzard, and I think it's going in the right way. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I've been dealing with them like communicating wise for about like 6 or 7 years now, and like 100% there's been a rapid change in their policy of communication. Like in 2006 when we first started talking to them, we'd never talked to them before that. We've been around since '02, and they had one guy, Karun, who was in charge of everybody.
For StarCraft 1.
For I think and Warcraft 3.
Because in Warcraft 3, I've been talking directly to Blizzard since 2004.
Okay.
And until about 2008, when they started to phase out the importance of maintaining the game. It's fair enough. How long has the game been out? The communication, I think, was really good.
Okay. So, but now there's there's multiple teams. There's a European team and a community team, and of course, the Asian communities in that. So yeah, I think there's been a cultural change at Blizzard for communication.
Yeah, I guess so too, probably.
Let's talk a bit more about MLG. All the groups are really hard and it's really stacked. Have you found over like the last year, as the GSL Koreans have gotten better, and now we're getting more Keswick players coming in, that the competition has become harder, and it's harder to be competitive in the space?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I mean, you
didn't think
personally have gotten better.
Well, when I started out, I thought it was like there were 10,000 people who could beat me, and I thought that's a really big sample size.
Yeah.
Then I started thinking like it's getting closer, like there's less and less people who could potentially beat me, and I still felt like that gap. I mean, that amount of people was decreasing. Yeah. But now, with Kespa players, there's a lot more again.
Yeah.
And they're setting the bar high, and I think it's making. It was really nice. I think it was Tastosis. They were talking about it. Like Polt, they thought Polt is this kind of guy who had this great run and then was probably going to disappear after a while because he probably some bias because he came from Warcraft, and also just they thought his style was gimmicky or whatever. But they said, Tastosis, with the Kespa players coming out and setting the bar even higher, the improvement that we saw in Polt was significant. So I think everyone is feeling the crunch and everyone's trying to be even better than they could be. So that's kind of funny when you think of human nature, like you could be better if you tried, but you're adjusting your skill based on what is out there. So Polt he's growing along the Kespa player, so it's not just that they're coming in and they're showing a skill which no one can mimic, but they're driving up the skill, the overalls, unless you get left behind, and well, you may hope as a player that you don't get left behind.
I think it's going to be natural though that we've already seen like a bunch of players start to retire as they realize, well, maybe
it's starting to happen. And I mean, any player could make that decision, and it doesn't have to be purely based on his performance or lack thereof. I think a lot of it is personal decision. Like, do you wish to keep fighting? Do you believe you can do it, or are you also satisfied with not being GSL champion? A lot of questions.
I know a big part of in your life for having the drive to fight on is your wife, and In Control's getting married soon. Did you know?
Yeah, you just told me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for him? You've been married for some time.
Advice? Well, basically, it's not about being right anymore.
Okay.
It's about being fair, sweet, and also you start to realize more and more that you can't always be right. When I was 4, I thought I'm always right. I didn't get the sarcasm of my parents and brothers saying, Manuel is always right.
Yeah.
And I mean, they are smarter than us in some way. They're a different species, and the sooner we realize that the woman is always right, and it doesn't even have to be like that they are dominant, controlling. Just the way you deal with buddies is different than the way you deal with a wife.
Yeah.
And obviously they become the most important person in your life. So I think, it becomes your main priority.
I've known him for as long as I've been on Team Liquid, and I even remember when he didn't have a girlfriend, and the number of arguments he got into was substantial, and he still gets into a lot of.
I expect to see it get less, maybe.
Yeah, do you think he's going to become like docile and calm?
I don't know. I saw this documentary recently about Atlantis. It was kind of interesting, but there was this person saying like, "Why are you marrying this guy? You know, he's just a boy." And then someone said, "But a boy does not become a man. A wife makes the boy become a man. A wife makes a person become a man." So you could say that if you're unmarried and you stay in the boy's life, maybe you'll never grow up. And in the end, I think it's indeed a woman's touch who rounds you out as a person, and who changes you in good ways and makes you grow up. I know it was the case for me.
Solid, cool. Okay, so I'll let you go back inside so you can see who you're going to play next and prepare. And do you want to do your sponsor shout-outs and things like that?
Good idea. Thank you, Twitch and Sony Xperia. Thanks for sponsoring me.
And Twitter?
My Twitter? I thought Twitter sponsors me now. Twitter, @followgrubby. Follow me. Thanks.
Yeah, great. Thank you.